Hi guys, this is Spartan765. I'm just doing a video today on a couple steps in refinishing a Mauser. Obviously, I'm not going to go over the buueing or the gun stock because that buueing takes about 6 hours. Gun stock takes about 4 days. But rebuuing a Mauser is depends on what Mauser it is. Obviously, if it's a rare amount, if you pay anything more than $230 for a gun, you really don't want to reblue it. This gun, no, I paid $150 for it. It's a Yugo M2447. It is worth about $300 though, due to the serial number or something on there. I don't know what that is, but it's not a super high value gun, and I like to use it for hunting, so I reblued it for purposes of keeping it not rusty. Today we're going to go over, obviously, if you reblue the gun, you got to reblue your rear sight. Now, as you'll realize, you reblue the sight, it's black there. Well, that just automatically gives it away. It's been reblued. Now, obviously, if you ever sell the gun, you don't want to lie and say it hasn't been reblued because they can easily tell if it's been reblued. But to make it look more authentic, just all you need to do here, people have been asking how to keep the numbers black and the rail, but have the layer front be shiny. Now, what I'm about to do, you cannot do to the back side of your rear sight. If you do, it will affect accuracy. You won't be accurate anymore if you do this to the back side, because that's where the car rides along the sight rail. So you want to be careful. Don't sand the back. Sand only the front. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take 400 grit sandpaper, and this is how they did it when they manufactured the gun. They just take it and you lightly sand over it like this. And you don't want to get too aggressive. See how it's starting to turn because I've wondered this myself, and I've also had people ask me what to do here, but I just figured this out myself. You don't want to push too hard because you don't want to get down into the numbers and let numbers on here. Just take some, 400. I'd say 400 is about good enough. That's going to get pretty smooth. And just go over your sight. I mean, you don't really have to worry about taking material off from the top of the sight because that's not going to affect accuracy. If you do on the bottom, it will affect accuracy, even though it's only about 100th or 1,000th of a millimeter. Still, it will affect accuracy. I do not recommend doing it on the bottom. And a lot of Mausers in the bottom do not have the bottom part of the sight leaf sanded anyway. I've seen Mausers where it isn't sanded, and that's from the factory. You're worried about refinishing your military rifle. Well, you got to take into fact, if it's been Arsenal refurbished, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and refinish it. I mean, it's not gonna. The only way you don't want to refinish a rifle is at the factory it was manufactured. If the rifle was when the rifle was manufactured, and if it has the original coat of bluing on it, then you don't want to redo anything. But if it's been Arsenal refinished in the 50s or 60s, go ahead, refinish it, make it look good, because it's not going to be worth any less. And collectors will. Like, I'm a gun collector, and I can pretty much tell just from about almost any European country whether a gun's been refinished or not, because they'll have refurb marks on them. Like most of the guns, a lot of the times will have a Ukrainian refurb mark, which is a box with a slash in it. Stuff like that. But stuff like that, if it's been refurbished, go ahead and refinish it. It's not going to matter. Now, as you can see here, this sight leaf is looking a lot like the original thing. Now, this is a very, very... let me see. Sorry about the light. It's kind of shitty. But as you can see there, I mean, that looks just about that like the original thing. And that's how they do it at the factories. They blue the whole thing, and then they just take some... They just took some really fine sandpaper. 400 grit's good. You get into the 800 or 1,000. That's a little too fine. But, I mean, it's super smooth right here. You can't really feel much on the sight. Just want to get it all uniform and everything like that. You look good. Then always after you sand or blue, especially after you blue something, you got to make sure you oil it right away. because it'll cause rust. I don't know how it does, but it does. Another thing with bluing a rifle, you take the bluing remover, you take it off, you want to make sure you oil your chamber or you will get rust in there. If you do get rust in there, one thing you got to do is take solvents to it right away in your chamber, like that's where the lobes are, where the bolt is. You got to get that stuff out of there, because if that turns into anything but surface rust, it's going to affect your headspace, and you're going to have that professionally done by a gunsmith. Just take a brush, or just, it took, you know, it happened to me once way back before when I redid my first rifle. I was stupid and didn't do that. You got to clean it out right away, but I cleaned mine out right away and it got better. Just take some oil. I use M Pro 7. That's the best oil. I like it. It's one of the only oils. Doesn't attract dirt. My next favorite oil would probably have to be gun oil. Just Otter's gun oil. When you're oiling, like let's say, just pieces to keep them from rusting, I don't recommend using rim oil, because that's a Teflon base. You want a genuine, authentic gun oil to do that, because just rim oil. See how that gets the bluing off there, and now it gets the bluing dust off there. Just the oil. Now sand her down nice and good. Make sure you get it all oiled up. That there is how you use, or how you sand down your rear sight spring, but still have the numbers in the middle thing, or the middle groove, blued. Got any other questions, comments, stuff like that? Send me a message. I'll be happy to help you. Spartan 765 out.